Evening and welcome to Tee It Up Talk, real relevant and applicable conversation about today's hot topics and more. And I'm excited to launch this new series called Mo Better Health. And who else better to launch it with than the one and only Amanda Surratt? I'm excited to have you on here, Amanda, and all the great things you're doing around health and really bringing it from a faith-based perspective is amazing. You know, not a lot of people out there doing it that way, and your ability to tie those things together is amazing. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know, Amanda, I've known you for how long now? It's been at least 10 years or more, probably.
It's been close to it. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a
very,
minute.
very close to it. Definitely under different circumstances. We worked in different areas, different field, but I'm delighted that I was able to keep up with you and kind of follow your journey, and just look forward to jumping in this conversation. And really, I just want to kick it off. Tell us about your journey and your transformation. We just want to hear your story.
Okay, sure. Sure. I battled with weight from a child. I started dieting in middle school and had a lot of hormonal imbalances, polycystic ovarian syndrome that was not diagnosed until I reached about college age. But always struggled, always had a lot of chronic, what we now figured out was chronic immune symptoms. And so I really I struggled, like nothing worked for me. I would try the diets, nothing worked. I would get bigger and bigger and bigger. I reached about 225 pounds at my highest, and I'm only 5'2". So, substantial amount of weight gain. But also the physical part, the fibromyalgia symptoms, the autoimmune issues, the thyroid not working properly. When I was in my mid 20s, I was on a ton of medications. I was constantly at the doctor, constantly in pain, and never felt good. And so I really started my health journey back in 2011, when I realized there was a holistic reason of why I kept gaining weight and why I was getting sicker and sicker and in more and more physical and emotional pain. So I started about 2011 figuring out that I had gluten intolerance. And so I reached out to an integrative doctor and had food allergy testing. And at the same time, was introduced to emotion code and body code, which is what I'm now a practitioner in. And we muscle tested and found out what was causing the underlying root cause of symptoms and began releasing it. And that was how I really started my transition, but it was very, very slow. But I learned that there was nutritional issues as well as emotional, physical toxins that I was exposed to, and that it was more than just eat these foods or don't eat these foods.
Gotcha. So it's definitely more of a holistic approach.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I started releasing the trapped emotional energy, started figuring out things like my cosmetics were causing toxins, certain foods were causing toxins, and releasing that, and also began to change, certain brands of cosmetics and cleaning supplies, and began to use more all natural um, as well in that area, not only the food and the emotional. And I would say the biggest piece that I've learned in the past probably 5 or 6 years was that belief system and the emotional aspect that I needed to heal from in order to get down to an optimal size, weight, and health.
Got you. So tell me, and I want to go back to that in a couple of minutes, but I definitely want to learn a little bit more about being a body code practitioner. Enlighten me on that a little bit.
Sure, sure. So, what I do with individuals is whatever the symptom or the issue is, whether it be weight issues or food addiction or depression or anxiety or some type of autoimmune disorder, arthritis, diabetes, which is whatever it is. I work with individuals and muscle test them to find out the underlying root cause of those symptoms and issues. And then I release it with faith and intention. So, for example, if someone they come in with symptoms of diabetes and, they're on medication, they're following nutrition, they're doing everything and they're not healing completely, they're medication dependent, I can work with them and find the underlying root cause and help them actually heal from that disease or that symptom.
Awesome, awesome. So
Yeah,
I like that. That's pretty interesting. I've heard that
yeah,
term before, but didn't know a lot about what it meant and what kind of how it would flow in a holistic approach
sure.
to total health, so to speak. And when I talk to a lot of people and a few people that listen to the podcast, they always talk to me a little bit about losing weight. And what's some of the best advice you can give to a person who's trying to lose weight?
I would say I think there are a few things. I would say
Okay.
the one thing is pretty basic that anybody could do is only eat real foods. So if you cannot identify in that bag of chips or that bag of cookies that is all real food ingredients, if you can't spell it or pronounce it, don't eat it. Would be the first thing I would say that anybody can do starting out is just get rid of the packaged foods and start eating real whole foods.
Gotcha. Now, I hear you 100% on that. Um, so I think what I often hear from people when they kind of do go down that path is um, understanding the different options they have when they're doing that. Because when they go in the grocery store, you have tons of option of chips. I mean, you go with jalapeno, sour cream. They have buffalo, plain, mesquite barbecue. I mean, you name it, they have. It's a gamut. But
Yeah.
I think they may not understand all the different ways that they can prepare other foods or other options they have out there. Do you have any kind of go-to options when it comes to pot? And I'll just go with snack
Yeah.
foods, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Fat bombs are my friend. I
Okay.
know food's not really your friend, but I have a recipe on my blog for my favorite fat bombs. I use real peanut butter that has no sugar added. I
Mhm.
use Lakanto chocolate chips and coconut flour and Yakin syrup, and they taste better than Reese's peanut butter cups.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be my go-to snack.
Gotcha. And before we end, we'll have to make sure that they know exactly how to get to your blog and your social media pages and all those cool things, so that they can see some of those. Because I do see them, I check them out, and periodically, I need to do better, but periodically, probably 2 or 3 times a year, I go through that process where I kind of do some type of fast, and I really go vegan. And I was able to kind of follow some things that you were putting on there, and it kind of sparked. Some ideas and thoughts on things that I could do. And my fast actually extended longer than I had planned, only because I was enjoying it. I was having fun with it. It was pretty engaging. It was like, oh man, what can I come up with next? So I was just using different ingredients and trying to find the right taste for me. So I think
Yeah.
what people don't understand, they can have a lot of fun with it. Sometimes it
Yeah.
may come across as being a chore, but I mean, you can definitely have a lot of fun with it for sure. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that once you've gone through that process, like you talked about, that detox process, just taking 21 days and getting off of the processed foods, you really, I don't know, it's like you give life to your taste buds again. They actually begin to taste real food. And, I'm all about some garlic hummus, chop up some veggies, or, you know, if I'm feeling a little extra, Aldi has amazing veggie chips that are clean. If you were going to have a packaged food, their veggie chips are the cleanest thing I've found on the market. And, chips and hummus or, um, celery sticks and guacamole or carrot sticks and guacamole. I mean, who doesn't like
I
guacamole?
know it. I'm with you 100%. That is for sure. So a lot of it has to do with these processed foods. That's what I think I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because they make it so easy and convenient for us to access those foods. How about people who may like to eat out? Do you have any advice or places that kind of go-tos for eating out?
Yes. So if I were going to, let's say, go out for Mexican food, I might get, depending on the restaurant, their chicken soup without the rice because grains just don't do well with my body. But chicken soup without the rice, add extra avocado on top, or
Okay.
chicken or steak fajitas. I personally would leave the rice off and the tortillas off, and then I would dump a bowl of salsa on top of the meat and veggies and
Okay.
have that. So that would be a go-to um, for going out to eat,
Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, hey, I don't know a lot of people who don't like Mexican, so I
right?
think that's definitely a go-to for sure. And and as people begin this journey, we live in this microwave society that they want to see results immediately,
Hmm.
and that may not always be the case. How long would you say it would be before people could possibly start losing weight when they start eating healthy?
I think it definitely depends on every person, but if you were to just start eating more real foods, drink water, take out the soda, definitely the first few days, you would probably drop a good 3 to 5 pounds just by releasing inflammation and water retention.
Yep.
And then after there, I would say you would not want to really release more than 1 or 2 pounds a week because you want it to be a lifestyle. If it's a diet and you don't have any type of moderation, you're going to go back to your old lifestyle really quickly and you're probably going to
Gotcha.
gain more weight. You've seen my journey. I mean, it took me, I started out at 225 around 2014, I think it was, and I just hit 139 this year.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome.
But it's been a lifestyle. I mean, I was not that person that had that before and after picture that was like, oh, I lost 100 pounds in a year.
Right.
No, it took 5, or 6, actually, close to 6. So I think that everyone's a little different, and you should expect plateaus as your body adjusts, and that's normal. But shooting for about a pound a week, maybe 2 at the most, is a very healthy pace. I wouldn't do much more than that.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. I'll tell you what's funny is my wife and I usually do these fast together, and I always lose weight quicker, more weight quicker. She gets very frustrated. So help me understand: is it easier for men to lose weight, or do they lose weight quicker than women, or it just happens to be my body makeup versus hers, so to speak?
I would say it is very much easier for men to lose weight. And I'll say this because in the past 10 weeks, I have followed and worked with a naturopath doctor out of New Zealand that specializes in women's nutrition over the age of 40.
Okay.
And her nutrition plan has been used for treating cancer, candida, menopause, all types of things. And it's been peer reviewed. And it's called the ketogenic switch nutrition
Okay.
plan, but it's not like Americanized keto. So thinking about that, how, if a man and woman jumps onto an Americanized diet,
Yeah.
man is going to do better because that's what it's really geared for.
Okay.
Women don't need that much food. We definitely don't need that much protein. We need more veggies than anything. And so, yeah, I would definitely say that it's a lot easier for men to
Gotcha.
release weight than women dealing with hormones.
Nah, I
So,
totally understand. And I know, I'm trying to encourage her. She's encouraging me, and she's like, I don't know what it is. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I felt bad. I'm apologizing. But But and she did amazing. She did great with it, I'm excited for her to listen to this podcast because she said she can't wait to hear and learn more. And I was showing her some of your things on social media and your transformation. She was like, "Oh man, I need to talk to her." I was like, "Well, you're gonna have your chance. You're gonna have your opportunity." So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, kind of on your quest to live a healthier lifestyle, what were some of the biggest obstacles you kind of faced?
My stubbornness.
Got you. Amanda Stubborn? No.
But really, and it's funny to see how life has shifted, or maybe it's because we've gotten older, but
Got you.
in our 20s, I could never eat like everybody else. When I looked around at all my other friends and look at guys, you know, guys or friends that could eat whatever,
Right.
and I felt punished. Because my body was it's allergic to gluten. I mean, there it just
Hmm.
is. And so I wanted to be like everyone else. So when I was given some nutritional advice, I mean, I really only probably followed about 70% of it. I did
Got you.
not go in, which took my journey a lot longer because I had to get rid of the food addiction. And I think the emotional attachment to foods, and have to learn to love my body enough to take care of it and honor it, even if that looks like the way I take care of myself is different from someone who can go eat pizza and drink beer and eat chips and
Right.
have a perfect weight. That's just not me. It's just not going to work for me. So that mindset had to shift. And I really had to learn how to love myself and make taking care of myself a priority and be okay with that.
Got you. No, and I think you segue into my thought or kind of where I wanted to go with. This is more of an individual journey. I think everyone we see all these fad things happening. You mentioned keto. I think I've heard something dirty keto. You have Atkins, all these different things. Weight
Yeah.
Watchers, everything out there. But it's almost people jump on those things and it's they look at other individuals versus kind of creating their own individual journey. And
Yes.
what's your thoughts on that? I mean, how can we move past those fad type diets to really focusing on yourself as an individual and your journey, and not really, you know, basically comparing yourself to others, but understanding how to go down your path and the path that you should be taking to a healthier life?
That's actually what I cover a lot in my Your Best Self Freedom
Okay.
Living program, where I coach
Okay.
people, because it was everything I learned the hard way. Because I was a coach for a fitness brand, nutrition and fitness brand, and it wasn't working for me. And I had to come to the realization that I can't keep coaching people and promoting a product that's not 100% for everybody. And that's exactly it. Someone comes up with a nutrition plan that works for them and a lot of the people around them. And so they patent it or copyright it and make it a thing, but it's not for everybody. And that was the biggest part of my journey, was trying to figure out what exactly my body needs and realizing that what I need is different from others. So in Your Best Self Freedom Living, I do a lot of emotional and mindset work with a person first. Like, what is the underlying root cause that they've had issues with food or nutrition or the emotional eating, or not being willing to take care of their bodies, and work through that. They get body code sessions through that process, and I teach them some basic principles, so that they learn how to become in tune to what their body needs. And then I do a tailored wellness plan. This is not a diet, but this is, you've gotten some emotional healing, you've gotten some mental healing. So now what does your body need in order to be nourished and thrive? And that food list is going to look completely different from anyone else's food list. And what I find is that when people eat foods that their body's wanting, I call them the pleaser foods, they're not
Okay.
hungry. All of a sudden, they feel satiated with a lot smaller amount. They're not binge eating, they're not constantly snacking. because what I found is when we constantly snack or binge eat or we don't ever feel full, it's because our body's saying, hey, I need this nutrient over here, and you keep feeding me this, and it's not giving me what I need in order to function. And so I'm going to keep telling you I'm hungry until hopefully one day you feed me what I'm needing. And so that tailored wellness plan makes it super simple to find out. And it's not a diet. Weight loss may happen, but
Mhm.
it's really just to teach you how to take care of your body and become more in tuned to what it needs to thrive.
Right. And so sometimes I think we do get caught up on the whole weight loss piece, and that was why this series is more better health. It's more about
Mhm.
being healthier
Yes. Yeah.
versus just just weight loss. The weight loss may come. We may run into people who it may not even need to be weight loss, but there's
Mhm.
some other things going on in their life that causes them to do certain things, or is triggering health concerns or health conditions. So it's about that. And you mentioned gluten. Help me with that, because I'm running across more and more people that have a gluten allergy,
Mhm.
but I'm also running across more and more options, so that if the people do look for gluten-free options, there are more and more readily available out there now. I will learn.
Yes.
Just could you help educate me a little bit more on gluten and some of the triggers with it, and then a lot of the options out there now for those who need to be gluten-free.
Sure. Sure. Well, grains that we know as in 2020 are not the grains that even we knew as children or our parents knew. About the 70s or the 80s, around that time frame, they did start genetically modifying the wheat seed. And gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and maybe a couple other grains. And people can tend to have a reaction to not only the gluten, but this seed of grain that's been genetically modified, which can come with its own health conditions. And then the real issue is that these grains have been treated with Roundup. And so a lot of times what we're reacting to is really the Roundup that's on the processed wheat. And so that causes a lot of health conditions, from brain fog, inflammation, fatigue. It could cause fibromyalgia type symptoms, digestive issues, weight gain, just all sorts of things. Italian wheat is not been genetically modified, and a lot of times people who are allergic to American conventional wheat can have a wheat and not have the reaction that they would, or near as reaction that they would. But there are now lots of gluten-free options. There's lots of grain-free options.
Mhm.
Some of my favorites are things made with coconut flour, almond flour. I love teff because I feel like it's still a good kept secret. Are you familiar with teff? Teff, do you
Uh,
ever eat
no, I
Ethiopian
haven't
food?
had that. No, you have
Okay.
to enlighten me on that one too.
Okay, so the first time we went and had Ethiopian food, we were
Mhm.
introduced to teff. Hmm.
Okay.
So they ferment it and make it into it almost looks like naan, and they don't use
Okay.
utensils to eat, so they soak up their food
Hmm.
with this teff, and that's how they eat their food. And he was saying that Ethiopia is known for having fast runners, and that's what they eat
Yep.
a lot of teff, because it actually has a lot of protein in it, like quinoa does.
Okay.
So a lot of nutrition, and it's not grown in the states that I know of, so it's not been exposed to Roundup and GMO and things like that.
Right.
So that's another one that I like. I like quinoa. Cassava root is pretty big in the market right now. I really like foods with cassava root, made with cassava root flour. That's a good one.
Okay. Cool. No. Hey, I'll tell you what. You just I'm making a list here. You're just adding to my list of things to definitely test out and try and to add to my diet. I tell you, um, this whole 2020 has been filled with a lot of things happening, a lot of things going on. So a lot of people have been in and mentally and socially have gone through a lot. So I know that probably what they've done was lent to eating and probably eating some things that they shouldn't be eating. I know I did during this time. I was doing great, and then all of a sudden, boom, I fell off. But what advice do you have to individuals who do that? You're pushing hard, and then all of a sudden you hit this wall, and it seems like you can't get over it. How do you forge through, or how do you push through, even during some tough times like we seem to be going through now?
I think checking in with your thoughts and your beliefs, what's important to you. When I struggled the most, I would get really serious with myself when I would have that yo-yo. I do those 30-day challenges and I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait till 30 days so that I can freaking have a cookie. I
Right.
mean, it was like, and then being put on the spotlight, I felt like I had to hide the cookie and,
Right.
and hurry up and have it before the next challenge group. And I remember one day finally realizing I really didn't want to release weight. I had hit a place subconsciously that I just didn't want to. I had no motivation. I'd kind of hit that wall and was kind of going through the motions. And I did a lot of healing. I did body code work on myself to get rid of those root causes. But I think taking some time and visualizing, just sitting down, praying, meditating, and what would that ideal life look like for you if you were at your optimal weight? How would you feel? What would you be doing? Are there activities that you would have more energy doing? What would that be like for you? And then think about visualizing what is life going to be like if you don't make any changes. I think you need to kind of find what you're motivated to do
Hmm.
and what is going to motivate you to get there, or what is that trade-off if you don't live a healthy lifestyle. What is that going to
Gotcha.
look like, and which one do you want most?
No, that yeah, understand that makes sense, and um, but I think that would help people move the kind of that what do they value and and
Hmm.
and and being able to see that and understand that if you don't do this, what path is this going to take you on those things, or
Yes.
if it's your children, do you plan to be around here long enough to see them get married or graduate or all those things, and if once they can kind of visualize that and see those things, that I agree that helps them move forward, definitely for sure. And I guess what would you say have been the key factors to your success? Are there any like one or two things that are those key factors?
Loving myself. The first day that I started my journey, I visualized what I actually looked like, and I told that self that I loved that self, and that self was leaving so that the new Amanda, the new healthy Amanda could come. But I appreciated the broken Amanda, the hurt Amanda, the Amanda who was very, very unhealthy. And I spent some time just thanking that person for being who she was so that I could let her go and walk into a new chapter of life with a healthier version of myself.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes you do kind of have to check yourself or talk to yourself and say, okay, I'm grateful that I was able to make it this far this way with you, but now it's time for me to forge this new path and kind of faith forward, so to speak, and just move forward with it. So no, I definitely get it for sure. And you know, on this path too, notice I've been able to kind of watch you do some cool things from a workout standpoint. And I'm a social workout guy, so when the gyms closed, it was not good for me. I don't do well, going out grabbing a jump rope or doing my exercises here at the house. It did help a little bit to have the kids here because they would encourage me a little bit to do that. But I like to go to the gym, walk around, talk to people, maybe jump on a piece of equipment here and there. But I am that total social workout person. So what advice would you give someone like me who enjoys the social aspect of working out, but really understands that he needs to, uh, find creative ways to get that workout, even if he didn't have access to a gym?
That is funny that you asked that. Um, I am a fitness instructor. Obviously, I've not
Ah,
been
there you go.
teaching. Well, here's the funny part. I haven't been teaching since everything closed down in March. I
Right.
was teaching aerobics and
Okay.
swimming laps. I do love and miss swimming. Um, Under this nutrition plan that I am following with this doctor right now, with the intention of healing from the cellular level and keeping the inflammation very low,
Hmm.
working out when you rip those muscles at the cellular level to build them up, that releases inflammation in the body.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So here's crazy. I told a few people this week, and my inbox has been flooded with what the
Right.
world. Um, it was recommended that we not work out until we reach our ideal weight
Ah,
because you're 30% less likely to reach your ideal weight if you work out and change your nutrition. So I have been, except maybe like hatha yoga, like something just very gentle, tai chi, just movement for stretch and mental and emotional, but not getting that heart rate up, not building muscle.
okay.
So the fitness instructor with 2020, it allowed it. I don't know how I would have done it otherwise, but I have not been working out for the past 2 months, other than I do eccentrics. I love eccentrics. It's very gentle, but that's it. So I have been focusing on keeping inflammation down as I release a few more pounds and get where I want to be. And then I hope that the gyms are going to open up and I can go back to swimming.
Yeah, I think they're coming. They're very close. A few of them have, so I think those pools will be open soon. But that's interesting. That's a whole
Yeah,
nother. That's a totally different discussion in itself. But
it is. It is.
wow, but it makes sense though. Particularly when you bring in kind of the point that you made with the inflammation. So
Hmm.
uh, that made perfect sense for sure. So yeah, we'll have to come back and do another talk
We
on that
will.
one. That is
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty interesting.
And it
Or
makes sense if you think about it. I'll say this really quickly
uh-huh.
because she's worked with a lot of women over the past few decades. And once you get to that ideal weight, think about it. You're carrying less weight, there's less wear and tear on your joints. You could, once you get your ideal weight, if you've been wanting to run a marathon, then you start training for a marathon or whatever it is because you've got less weight that you're having to carry around and work out.
Yeah,
So once you're at that ideal weight and you start going into hardcore training, you're going to get there just as quickly as if you've been working out this whole time.
that's very
So,
true. And that's less wear and tear on your body because you're right. You're doing it at a weight that um, could cause a little bit more wear and tear. It's tough on your body, your joints,
yeah.
everything. So, that's an interesting concept. I have to learn a little bit more about that before we talk. But I like it. I like it. I like it for sure. Um, hmm, good stuff. Now, tell me, knowing what you know now and having achieved the success that you have, what advice would you give yourself, or what would you have done differently 3 or 4 years ago?
Grace, give myself grace, give
Hmm.
yourself grace, and be okay with failing forward because that's part of the process and that's how you succeed.
Awesome. I like it. One of my favorite books is called "Fail Up," so I like that failing forward. So that's pretty cool. And I agree. I think people are a little too hard on themselves,
Yeah.
and they take themselves a little bit too seriously. And if they could could step back and, like you say, fail forward, they would probably continue with the process and really enjoy or embrace the journey, so to
Yeah.
speak. So,
Yeah.
no, cool. That's great stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, this is the cool time. We call it tee it up. So I want you to tee it up for me, Amanda. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to say, tee it up. It's your time. Anything. What you want? Anything you want to say about uh, your coaching? Anything you want to say about the coding piece that you do, or
Okay.
anything? Any new thing you have coming up? Anything like that? Enlighten us on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did talk about the Your Best Self Freedom
Mhm.
Living program that I coach people that are looking to become healthier, and work through the emotional piece of why they've not been able to get healthy. And so I do have that program. I also have the Life Flow program that I developed last year that has been extremely popular. And this is for people who try and try and try to get healthy in general, not necessarily weight, but just in general, reverse disease, whatever it is. And they are going to the doctor, they're taking all the medications, maybe they are even doing some alternative route, and they're still not getting better. This program is a systematic program I designed to help people heal at the cellular level. So I work on everything from the mindset, the emotional piece of, is there anything blocking you from healing? And then I do a total body analysis and work through each of their body systems or organs or glands and rebalance all of that. And then I end it with their own tailored wellness plan too. Once I've released the toxins, rebalanced everything, then they get their own tailored wellness plan of what their body needs in order to thrive.
Awesome. So, tell me, how do we get in contact with you? How can we follow you? Your website, Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook, blog. Let me know all those cool things.
Okay. So my website is www.atruebalance.com. And my Instagram account is my name is Amanda Surratt _ and my Facebook page is just plant based Amanda.
Awesome, awesome. So that's pretty cool. Just plant-based, Amanda. I like it. That's pretty
Thanks.
catchy right there, for sure, for sure. Well, look, Amanda, we could go on for days, but I appreciate you taking the time just to chat a little bit with me, and we definitely have to have you back. And I know you have some new things that'll be kicking off next year, so maybe we can coordinate some time towards the next few months just to uh, chat a little bit about some of the new things that you have going, and maybe you can go in a little bit deeper on some of the other conversations that we were having as well. But again, thank you very much for agreeing to do this. I'm excited that the individuals get a chance to hear this, and just excited that you were the one to kick off the Mo Better Health series that Tee It Up Talk is having. So thank you again. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And it's time to head out. And as we say each and every time, faith forward with grace, mercy, and love. God bless. Everybody have a great one.